The first kill in Abominable starts at the first minute of the movie when Dr. Martin is running from a monster in the woods. When it seems like he is all safe, he gets dragged out of screen and eaten by this monster. The camera cuts over to what seems to be an abandoned building. Our first character, Kevin, kicks down the door and scans the room for any threats. After he gives the all clear, his team, Pete, Sarah, Dr. Helen, and Bob, enter the building. These explorers are searching for Dr. Martin and the mysterious blue flower. After both disappeared, they all set up equipment and make this building their base. While they explore, they find voice and book entries. They figure out that the voice and the entries were set up by Dr. Martin. They figure out from Dr. Martin that a creature is out there in the woods and to be warned. Back in the base, Sarah figures out a good extraction point to head towards, and Dr. Helen said that they can settle in and first thing tomorrow they would go out to the point. Sarah and Pete tell Dr. Helen that not only do they not know where they are going, but they have no idea on the land and that a storm is approaching. So if they don't get to the extraction points before the storm hits, the points would become null and void and they would all die from the storm. Dr. Helen tells Pete to lock down the building they are in and that she is going to meet up with Bob to go to the point A, and Sarah and Victor were going to point B. Before Sarah leaves, Pete asks why no one has been able to find this plant yet. Sarah explained that the only reason Dr. Helen is still going for it because she believes that the plant has enough healing properties that could save lives. We see another explorer, Solomon, dragging a person screaming for help. The other person is dying. He tries to call for help, but since he is in a dead zone, he can't get to anyone. While Solomon is giving this woman CPR, he hears static or a possible person on the radio. As he goes over to the radio to hopefully reach someone, the woman gets dragged and killed off screen by this creature. Solomon gets up and turns around to see the creature, which is the Abominable SnowMan, right behind him. The snowman slashes and kills Solomon in a very cool way. Dr. Helen and Bob go searching for Dr. Martin and the flower, and they believe they're on the right track. They hear a roar and move. The third kill happens when we see an explorer with one eye missing stumbling through the woods. He stops to look around and sees where he is as the Abominable SnowMan stands right behind him. After some looking around, the Abominable SnowMan grabs the explorer by the head and bashes his head against a tree. Pretty cool. Pete hears a roar and tries to use the radio to warn the others. When a bloodied up explorer runs away from the Yeti, a huge chase scene occurs and the explorer falls down. As he tries to get his rifle to shoot the Yeti catches up to the explorer and rips his arm off. As the explorer is screaming in pain, the Yeti reaches into the explorer's mouth and he just tears off his jaw with his bare hands. Yeah, and leaves him to die. If you love brutal kills but terrible acting and terrible writing, you're gonna love this movie as much as I did. Pete goes out to explore and he sees off in the distance that an object is approaching him. As he goes to see what the object is, he sees an arm, gets freaked out and goes to hide in the base. Sarah goes back to the base to check on Pete, and Pete warns Sarah about the Yeti. They both decide they're going to find the Yeti and they're going to kill it. Why not just escape? Okay, whatever. I guess they don't have any common sense in this movie. While Dr. Helen and Bob place down a beacon to reach Pete, Bob turns on Dr. Helen, saying that she doesn't actually want to help people with this plan and she just wants to help herself. Bob switches plans and he is now going to find and kill the Yeti. He stops Dr. Helen from her plan by shooting her in the leg. While Pete and Sarah go out to lay down a trap to kill the Yeti, Pete sees the Yeti approaching and alerts Sarah. Both of them freak out, and as the Yeti reaches them, Pete shoots, misses, and then gets thrown around by the Yeti like a ragdoll toy. It's pretty funny. Sarah scares the Yeti by shining a strobe in its eyes and goes to save Pete, who is amazingly not killed. I don't know how, but I guess so. Any other person would have died. They return to base. Pete is shaken up and Sarah is ready to shoot if the Yeti comes into the building. Pete says to Sarah that he is going to send a distress beacon to his location for help and that Sarah should leave and go find the others. When she leaves and the distress beacon is sent, the Yeti appears behind Pete and eats Pete's neck, killing him. Pretty cool. Dude, I really like these kills. While Dr. Helen goes to follow Bob, she gets herself silenced and dragged by Bob himself. keeping her as hostage. Eventually, the three explorers cross paths. Sarah sees that Bob is trying to kill Dr. Helen and threatens to shoot Bob. They all encounter the Yeti, and Bob tries to shoot the Yeti, with the bullets doing nothing to stop the Yeti. The Yeti goes up to Bob and he rips his face off his body, leaving only his skeleton, and then proceeds to slash his back. I really like it. It's freaking awesome. They clearly spent their whole budget on just the kills and nothing on the story and their acting and writing. Dr. Helen finds the plant that they have all been looking for and picks it out of the ground, but because one of her legs gets shot by Bob, she can't get up on her own. Sarah lights a flare as a way to scare the Yeti and goes to Dr. Helen. Dr. Helen says to Sarah that they should take the flower and run. She can't get up and has to accept her fate. She gets killed off screen being eaten by the Yeti. Sarah runs away and collapses, and then somehow she gets found by the police and she is safe and sound. I guess the police found her before the Yeti. I don't know how that makes sense, but alright, just quick time jump. The movie has so many mistakes and plot holes and nothing gets explained. It was very laughably bad. I really like it, but really good kills. You could tell that's what they spent on the movie, and I liked it. I appreciate it. It has a nice charm to it. We had 8 kills in Abominable, 6 of them male and 2 of them female. The golden hammer from best kill goes to the explorer that got his jaw ripped out from their skull. It was super gruesome. I really liked it. I loved it. If you love gruesome kills, you're gonna like this. But you could tell they're a little cheap, but you know, it's an indie small budget movie, but they're very creative and I really like that. The silver pistol for the worst kill goes to Dr. Helen. I feel like such an emotional scene as that portrays to be should deserve more of a drawn out kill. Like you could tell they were just trying to rush it. Probably ran out of fake blood and practical effects, but yeah. And comment down what your favorite kill was and let me know what you thought of the movie, and subscribe to Movie Gods for more kill counts and to be a movie god. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.